Imagine a city, okay, so meticulously designed, so clean, green, and incredibly orderly. It almost sounds, well, utopian, doesn't it?
It really does.
But could a place like that truly thrive? Not in some distant future, but right now, in the heart of a dynamic, sometimes chaotic country like India.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Today, we're taking a deep dive into Chandigarh, India's very first planned city after independence, often called the City Beautiful.
A fitting name, I think.
Our mission here is to unpack the extraordinary vision behind it. Who built it? How does it actually work? And what makes it such a fascinating urban experiment? We're essentially giving you a shortcut, drawing from the sources you've shared, to get you really well informed about this remarkable place.
Cutting through the noise, getting to the core of it.
Exactly. So this seemingly perfect city, it didn't just appear out of thin air. There must have been a critical moment, a historical reason that made Chandigarh necessary.
Oh, absolutely. The historical context is crucial. You have to go back to 1947, the partition of India. Lahore, which had always been Punjab's capital, ended up in Pakistan.
Ah, right. So suddenly, Indian Punjab needed a new capital.
Immediately.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about replacing a city. It became this unprecedented chance for a completely fresh start, a blank slate, really.
And this need, this practical necessity, it met a really ambitious vision from the top, didn't it? I mean, Prime Minister Nehru's ideas went beyond just building a functional city.
Precisely. Nehru didn't just want a capital. He saw Chandigarh as a potent symbol, a symbol of a modern, independent India, totally free from the colonial past.
Built with foresight, looking forward.
Exactly. He wanted a city that wasn't just efficient, but, an actual statement, architecturally, urbanistically, about the nation's aspirations for progress, for self-reliance. It was a huge philosophical undertaking.
Wow. Okay, so creating a city with that much symbolic weight, that's a massive task. Who did they actually bring in to turn this grand idea into concrete and steel? And why them?
Yeah. For something this big, they needed a big name. It turned to one of the titans of modern architecture, the Swiss-French architect, Le Corbusier.
Le Corbusier, okay, a legend.
Absolutely. He was given this monumental design challenge. And his philosophy, it was pretty revolutionary then, focusing on function, rationality, but also, critically, being human-centric in the planning.
Human-centric.
Our construction kicked off in the 1950s. Then, after Punjab was reorganized in 1966, Chandigarh officially became a union territory.
Which means it's run by the central government.
Directly, yes. While also serving as the capital for both Punjab and Haryana. That dual role is quite unique.
That is unusual. And besides the politics and architecture, the location itself seems pretty strategic, right?
It definitely is. Chandigarh is nestled right there in northern India, at the foothills of the Shivalik Range, part of the Himalayas.
Beautiful setting.
Stunning. And it makes it a natural gateway to popular hill stations nearby, like Kasauli and Shimla. Adds to its appeal for sure.
Okay, so we have the why and the who. Now, let's get into the design itself, the blueprint. Le Corbusier used this famous analogy for the city's layout, didn't he? Something really fundamental.
He did. And this is probably the most memorable part of his design concept. He compared Chandigarh's layout to the human body.
The human body, how did that work?
It's a brilliant way to think about a city holistically. The Capitol complex, that's the High Court, Secretariat, Legislative Assembly, that's the head, the administrative brain, you could say.
Okay, the head. Makes sense.
Then the city center, Sector 17 specifically, that's the heart. The commercial, social pulse of the city.
The bustling part.
Exactly. Educational institutions, they form the brain, representing knowledge, intellect. The industrial areas are the hands, symbolizing productivity.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, the city's huge network of parks and gardens, they're the lungs. Providing that essential green space, clean air. It's central to its identity.
That's fascinating. So more than just a clever metaphor, how did thinking about the city like an organism actually shape daily life? Did it make things, I don't know, more convenient or create local communities?
That's a great point. And yes, it absolutely translated into a very practical, livable design. Each sector, as they're called, is basically a self-sufficient unit, like an organ system.
Ah, the sector system.
Right. They were designed so each one has its own schools, markets, parks, residential areas.
So you wouldn't need to travel far for basics.
Exactly. It cuts down on long commutes for daily stuff, and that definitely helps foster that local community feeling you mentioned. Plus, the wider design features really wide roads, synchronized traffic lights, tons of integrated greenery, and clear zoning. It all encourages walkability and just flow.
And the buildings themselves have a very distinct look, right? That modernist style. Was that a deliberate break from the past?
Oh, very deliberate. The architecture is unmistakably modernist. Lots of raw, concrete, Beton root clean lines, geometric shapes.
Very striking.
It was a conscious move away from older, especially colonial styles. It was meant to signal India's new independent identity. And those key buildings in the Capitol complex, by Le Corbusier, the High Court, Secretariat, Assembly, they're not just iconic locally. Their architectural importance is recognized globally. They're collectively a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Wow, UNESCO status.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the grand design, but what's it actually like living there? You hear so much about Chandigarh being one of India's greenest cities. That city beautiful name isn't just marketing then.
Not at all. It's
Tell 'em.
genuinely earned. The amount of parks, the tree-lined streets, it's really noticeable. And it's not just generic green space. There are some truly unique, visionary places.
Like what?
Well, you have to talk about the Rock Garden. It's world famous. An incredible sculpture garden built entirely by one man, Nek Chand, a self-taught artist.
Okay.
And he built it using only recycled materials, discarded rocks, broken pottery, bangles, scrap metal, you name it. It's just this amazing symbol of creativity, sustainability, using waste to make something beautiful.
That is incredible, truly resourceful. What other green spots stand out?
Another jewel is Sukhna Lake. It's a man-made lake, very serene, perfect for boating, taking walks, bird watching, catching a sunset. Really popular.
Sounds lovely.
And then there's the Rose Garden, the Zakir Hussain Garden. It's huge, apparently Asia's largest, with something like over 1,600 different varieties of roses.
1,600 varieties.
Yeah. Plus you have the Botanical Garden, the Leisure Valley, which is like a green spine running through the city. It all adds up to this incredibly lush, breathable environment.
It sounds like this amazing blend of strict planning and natural beauty. But with such a rigid design, was there ever like a tension between the plan and how people actually live, how culture evolves organically?
That's an interesting point. You might expect some tension, but Chandigarh seems to manage that blend pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It combines modern urban life with that inherent Punjabi warmth.
So it doesn't feel sterile.
Not generally, no. It consistently ranks high among India's cleanest and happiest cities. That says a lot about the quality of life. The planning provides order, sure, but creativity and community definitely find space to thrive. You've got hubs like Sector 17 Plaza, that's the heart, remember, which is great for open-air events, shopping, just hanging out, and then newer big malls like Elante and DLF City Center for more modern retail and entertainment.
Right. What about the cultural side? Beyond shopping and parks, is there a good arts scene?
Absolutely. The nightlife
Yeah.
is quite active, but still feels disciplined, Good mix of cafes, lounges, rooftop spots. And yeah, art and music are pretty integral. There are regular theater productions, literary events, concerts.
Nice.
And it's quite notable how the city celebrates all the major festivals together. Baisakhi, Diwali, Christmas, everything really harmoniously. It speaks to a kind of cohesive, inclusive community spirit.
That's lovely. And you can't really talk about Punjab without talking about food. What's the food scene like in Chandigarh?
Oh, it's fantastic. A real celebration. You get that amazing hearty Punjabi food called bocher, butter chicken, rajma chawal, paneer tikka, the classics, and endless lassi, of course.
Of course.
But it's got modern twists, too. And the street food is thriving. Tikki, bilpuri, momos, kulfi. It's all there. Plus, because it's a modern city, you've got a huge range of global cuisines available in cafes and restaurants, too. Something for everyone, really.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Now, beyond the lifestyle aspects, Chandigarh is also a major center for education and research, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's a significant hub. You've got Punjab University, which is highly ranked and has a beautiful campus. Punjab Engineering College, or PEC, is another big one.
Right.
And crucially, there's the Postgraduate Institute of Medical Education and Research, PGIMER. It's widely considered one of India's absolute best hospitals and medical research centers. It draws talent from all over the country.
A real center of excellence. Okay, let's shift gears a bit to the nuts and bolts, the mechanics of this model city. How does it actually run day to day? Transport, for instance.
Well, the transport system is, again, meticulously planned and pretty efficient. You notice the wide roads, the clear signage, and traffic laws are enforced quite strictly.
That makes a difference.
It really does. Contributes hugely to that feeling of order.
So getting in and out, moving around the city, is it easy?
Very well connected. There's Chandigarh International Airport with flights to major Indian cities and even some international routes, like to the Gulf.
Okay.
A busy railway station connects it easily to Delhi, Amritsar, Mumbai, Kolkata, and elsewhere. Locally, you have the CTU buses, which are quite efficient, plus taxis and auto rickshaws.
Standard options.
Yeah. But what's quite forward-thinking is the commitment to sustainable transport. There are extensive bicycle tracks built into the city design, and you see a growing number of e-rickshaws for short hops.
That's good to see. Now, economically, what drives Chandigarh? Is it manufacturing, or does that unique administrative status shape its economy differently?
It's not really a big manufacturing hub. The economy is much more service-based.
Yeah.
Government jobs are a big factor, obviously, because it's the capital for 2 states and a union territory. But there's also a significant and growing IT and BPO sector, especially if you include the adjoining cities, Mohali and Panchkula. Together, they're often called the Tricity.
The Tricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond that, real estate, education, healthcare, retail, and tourism are all important contributors. So it's quite a diverse and stable economic base.
And that administration being a union territory, how does that work exactly? Who's in charge?
So the Chandigarh administration is overseen directly by an administrator, who is typically the governor of Punjab, holding an additional charge.
So central oversight.
Yes, exactly. That structure provides a layer of centralized governance, which many believe helps maintain its functionality and stick to the original master plan over the decades.
All these pieces, the planning, the greenery, the administration, they seem to add up to this reputation Chandigarh has for being safe and clean, topping livability lists.
Absolutely. It consistently ranks as one of India's safest and cleanest cities. People often talk about the high police visibility and surveillance making them feel secure, especially compared to other big cities.
Yeah.
And then there's the infrastructure. The roads are well maintained, public spaces are kept clean, waste management is generally very effective. Plus, there are ongoing efforts like regular tree plantation drives and pollution control measures.
It all contributes.
Definitely. And it shows in those high rankings on livability indexes. It attracts a real mix of people, professionals, students, retirees, all looking for that higher quality of life.
But even a model city, planned so carefully, must face challenges as time goes on, right? What are the modern pressures Chandigarh is dealing with now?
That's a really important question.
Okay.
Because yes, despite the great planning, it's not immune to modern pressures. Urban sprawl is starting to push against the surrounding greenbelts.
A common problem.
Very common. Traffic congestion is also increasing, just due to more vehicles on the road. Waste management, while good, needs constant innovation to handle the growing volume. And then there's this delicate balancing act.
Between old and new.
Exactly. How do you preserve the unique heritage architecture, Le Corbusier's legacy, while still allowing for necessary new development and infrastructure? It requires careful stewardship.
A constant challenge. But despite these issues, it sounds like Chandigarh still offers lessons. Like it's a model that other cities could learn from.
I think it really does. The way it's governed, the level of civic sense you often find there, and those core planning principles, they make it one of the most effective, maybe even replicable urban models in India. It shows what's possible when you combine vision with discipline and decent administration.
So summing it all up, Chandigarh sounds like, well, like a city where a really powerful dream actually came true.
That's a good way to put it. It was built from scratch, literally,
Yeah.
as this bold statement about modern India's aspirations. And while it continues to evolve, it really holds on to those core values: design, discipline, dignity.
A vision made real.
Exactly. Whether you're, strolling by Sukhna Lake at dawn or just observing the orderliness from the Capitol complex, it offers this remarkably peaceful, structured, yet human urban experience. It's more than just a city.
What a fascinating story. Chandigarh, from that initial vision to the city beautiful, it really gets you thinking, doesn't it, about what it means to design a city from the ground up, not just for efficiency, but for the human spirit.
It really does.
So a final thought for you listening. If you had the chance to design a city for the future, what core values would you prioritize? How could Chandigarh's particular mix of discipline and dignity maybe inspire urban planning somewhere else in the world? Something to ponder.